If you would, if you have a cell phone, would you please silence it? Mr. Fulgham, it's up to you.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, you have Ms. Burgess here to start off with, I think. You can go in the order, yeah. The budget amendment is proposed to be before you. It's your regular session agenda for first reading. I'm going to have the opportunity to walk it through with you, and it's she stuck to lapsing funds this time based on our discussion, I believe, during the budget cycle with you previously. And then we have a couple other items. One is about software, a purchase that is on your regular session agenda. You actually have two software purchase items on your agenda, so hopefully we can talk about both of those very quickly. So you'll be ready to move through that quickly in your regular session, and then of course you have your general discussion. So I'll try to make this quick by sitting down and letting Ms. Burgess go to work. You're welcome.
Good evening, Mr.
Good evening.
Chair, members of council. So this is a budget workshop, and I wanted to say that the item that was included in the agenda packet has, the detail of that has been discarded. That was after further consideration, that was did not meet what the council has previously told me that they preferred, and I could not find any actual anything that actually said we had to do it that way. I think when I was in the classes for the Certified Financial Officer training certification, there was a gentleman who was our professor, and he was in the university system, and they do a much more detailed, as you received in the packet, a much more detailed budget amendment than we have to do. I can't find any precedence that says we have to do it to that extent. So it has changed, and I sent that out to you on Friday, and this is an overview of the changes. I'll start with the performance report for fiscal year 25, which was also sent out, and that included, the budget on the left-hand side included two amendments. There was an amendment on 10/7, and then there was an amendment again on June 16th, 2025. So that those amounts are included in those revenue 62 million and the expenditures of 62 million. The actual amounts through June 2025, June 30, the revenue is at this point $52,575,251. And I have a note there that is subject to change, because one of the standard procedures that we do is we record any revenues that come in after June 30 through usually the end of August, that are revenues that are for fiscal year, the prior fiscal year. A lot of that includes state funds, very often when they true up their funds, like the accommodations taxes, even some of the taxes, property taxes or apportionments, delinquent tax apportionments. We don't get those actual revenues until July, when they've had a chance to do their reconciliations or to print their reports. So that is subject to change, and currently it appears there's approximately $2 million that would relate to the general fund, which this is what this revenue is. Was received after June 30, 2025 for the fiscal year 2025, and it is yet to be recorded as a revenue and a receivable in the financials. So the expenditures of 57 million are relative, unless the auditors or unless there's something that comes along that we're unaware of to change that amount. That includes any accounts payable. That we also do the same thing with expenditures. We keep so to speak, we keep the books open from June 30 until August in order to make sure that if any invoices or any expenditures that relate to the prior fiscal year are recorded in the prior fiscal year, in the appropriate year. So that 57 million, we've been able to do that as we go along each week and make the payments. So that amount, the 57,351, is, I would say, not, there may be minor changes or some changes, but I don't expect it. So just wanted to let you know right now that it appears that there's a almost 4.8 million deficit. We do have the $2 million, so that would reduce it to 2.8 at this point. The lapsing funds. So lapsing funds are basically, this is actually a definition out of our budget ordinance from the 2024, fiscal year 2024-2025 budget. And the budget appropriations are of monies received by county departments and existing at the close of the fiscal year shall revert to the appropriate fund of the county. Departments wishing to carry over appropriations into the next succeeding fiscal year must submit their request by August 1st. So basically it is funds appropriated and unspent at year end, and they can be carried over to the next fiscal year as long as the county council approves that. So this spreadsheet, which is very busy, that's why I gave you a copy of it. This is the lapsing funds. These are the items that were unspent or not completely spent by end of fiscal year 2025, and they're being carried over, or they're being proposed to be carried over into fiscal year 2026. So there's equipment and the various departments. The equipment, anything for the Department 58, the detention center, a lot of that equipment has already been ordered. It was already approved in prior fiscal years. Sometimes, in one case, I believe it was not last fiscal year, but the fiscal year before that. But it has taken a long time to get those equipment in service. So, and that was a part of some of the requirements that the South Carolina Department of Corrections told us that we needed to do as part of their, not investigation, but call it that. I'm sorry? Inspection, thank you. So that's those two, and then there's planning expenses for Department 60. That is the Symbiosity to finish up the plan for the whole redoing the 5-year plan. We have the consulting expenses. That primarily is the architect for the Coosawhatchee Fire Station that the council approved over approximately $775,000. We've expended some of that. So that's 643 that you see on where it says proposed amendments under consulting services. That is what is being carried over from that amount. Then there's some small items, office equipment, park development. That was a large $390,000 for 77 and almost $52,000 for 78. So that's just parks, and then Sergeant Jasper. So we're carrying those over because they had certain items that they had intended to do last year that they did not get the opportunity to do. I'm going to try, I actually have them on these that I'll pass out to you, but they're very, very small. And
Would you like me to do that?
yeah. Sure. Well, this is going into, so that'll be the, these are 2 pages. I should have put them over the 3 pages each. That is, so then I'll pick a clips.
I'll work on that.
I'll have to order some. So the, the park development, there were some deck and bridge repairs, dog park, trail repairs, etc., and then some signage. That was for Sergeant Jasper, and then there was signage and the Levy Limehouse Community Center. There were some repairs and work that needed to be done there that wasn't done that they'd like to carry over. And the equipment for Department 81, the largest part of that is to outfit the vehicle. There was a truck that was in an accident, and now we need to replace the vehicle. The equipment, we've replaced the vehicle, now we need to replace some of that equipment. Also, other equipment that the department may need as necessary. And then for building repairs, there's a small amount of $21,000, and that would be repairs. We're always needing repairs for the HVAC systems, and then other repairs as necessary. Capital outlay, there was some solid waste equipment that was budgeted for $39,500 in fiscal year 25. It was not expended, so we'd like to carry that over. And building repairs. So we have unspent approximately $127,000 in building repairs. We have planned for parking lot, doing the parking lots all over the county, and it seems that the cost goes up, so I thought that $127,000 might be a help, a cushion, because those quotes are very old, and as we approach the resurfacing of those parking lots, we may need that for additional funding.
Excuse me, Burgess, as I'm passing this out, will you explain this that I'm handing to?
So, there's two. There's the one that's at the top says fiscal year 26 adopted. It's 3 pages long. And then there's the one page that says fiscal year 2025. That's basically what I just went over here with the lapsing funds. So I separated them into 2 years, fiscal year 25, and then we'll see them being carried over into fiscal year 26. And I apologize that the print is so small. When we're done with this, if you want to, Jessica has it, so I can make it larger so you can actually see it on the screen. Or would you like to see that now? Wait? Okay. So I can put it up there, but this is basically the lapsing funds. So what that does to the budget is it reduces the fiscal year 25 budget by $1,843,200. And so that the revenue, because what we're going to do is decrease the cash carry forward, because we did not need these funds, so we would decrease the cash carry forward, so that would reduce the amended budget to $60,566,294, and also it would decrease the expenditures, budgeted only, all this is budgeted only, from $62,409,000 to $60,566,294. So that's fiscal year 25. That's unspent. We're reducing the budget for it. We're reducing the amount of cash carry forward that we budgeted for it. And so basically that same amount would be carried over into fiscal year 26. But it reduces both the revenue and the expenditures. So, this is a summary of the costs that are included in the rest of these pages that you see here for fiscal year 26. And some of it is just cleaning it up in a way to reclassify it so that it makes, as we go through the year, you're not trying to add three or four line items to get what the total salary and wages should be. So there's, as you can see, or you may not be able to see it from here, but we had a cost of living increase. and that was for every line item, for every department, except for one. And so that cost of living increase was included on, as a separate line item in the adopted budget for $856,800. I propose that we take that cost of living increase and roll it into the salary and wages, so that as we're going through the year, we're looking at salary and wages, we can determine that, what it actually should be. Then there was new personnel, and that totaled $917,725. Most of that was in payroll, or the salary and wages, payroll, taxes, and benefits, and then there was a few that had a line item for computer equipment included in that new. So I'm basically just reallocating those line items, reducing the line items that they were originally budgeted, and putting it in the line items that they should have been in, or as we, not should have been, but as we go forward, will help us compare what the actuals are to the budget. And we budget it the way we do, so that if you determine you don't want a cost of living increase, or you want more or less, that can be adjusted on a single line item rather than trying to adjust every single salary and wage and everything else. And the same thing with new personnel. So if you decide you don't want to do any new personnel, we can wipe that entire line item out of the budget, and you wouldn't have to, it's more easily adjusted as we move forward in the budget process. And then other expenditures, as we were going through this, there in one department, actually the tax collector, she has some new software, and there's a small $280 a month fee, and she's budgeted very close to the line. You know, she doesn't have a lot of wiggle room in her budget. So as we were doing this, I just added that to it. I can tell you that after having run the August financial statements, I will be bringing forward to you 2 additional line items for budget amendments that both have to do with the sheriff. And also the fee schedule, there's been some adjustments apparently in the Sergeant Jasper fees that were not communicated during as we move forward in the budget process, and they have printed all of their handout things and everything that they do for that new budget amount. So there's kind of a mix-up in the communication there, and I will bring forward to you a new revised fee schedule to include those changes that they've already incorporated in their process.
That's the sheriff.
No, sir, that was Parks and Rec. The
Parks and Rec.
sheriff is the vehicle insurance. For some reason, there's not a budgeted line item for that. And the other is what we call it translation services. It used to be called language line, and we need to have, they utilize that, so we either will have to adjust that from another line item or add it in. But so those are the 2 that I have learned but since Friday, that we will need to bring to you as a part of a second reading. So this is the budget as it looks right, or how it will look at if these amendments are accepted and approved. We started with a budget of $66,067,840 by the revenue and expenditures, because we have to have a balanced budget. We will reduce the cash carry forward by not quite as much as the amount that we're reducing the 2025, and that part of that is just a little bit of the I've got it somewhere, I've got a handy dandy calculation somewhere. It has to do with that that little bit of the other expenditures. So the 3,400, I believe. I'll have to double check that before we have that actual meeting. So anyway, it's slightly less, and so then our budgeted amended expenditures would be 67,738,940 as well.
What is the CO for lapsing? What does a CO mean? CO lapsing?
Carryover.
Okay.
It's carryover from fiscal year 25.
Okay, got it.
Trying to figure out where my difference is. Oh, it's in the consulting services. So the difference is that we took out $818,900 in the consulting services for Department 62, but we only added back the $643,400, which was the amount for the architect. That was the difference. And that's it for that. Would y'all like to, do y'all want to see the spreadsheet in bigger detail, or you can actually read the explanations that are good with what we have? Because I do have the other with the Q Public contract as well.
That what you gave us is still what you gave, what was this right here?
So that's the new one. That's
new one.
revised. What you've been handed tonight is the revised one. If you want to go back and look at the other, it's, bought it, but I don't see where it is. It's several more
So
pages.
it's the same dollar amount.
Well, for the lapsing, yes. But for the other part, I didn't do all of those changes within each department for like salary and wages and everything that, for fiscal year 25.
So, Mr. Burgess, on the employee costs and other expenditures, FY 26, the 25,757,000 is included in the 67,738,940.
I'm sorry,
In
I was trying to
total?
find that other, the 27 million.
The 25,757 is in the 67,738, right?
Are you talking
In the
about this
amended
one?
budget. If you go to this sheet
Or one
here.
more, or two more.
So the 25,757 in the 26 amended budget.
So the 2026 amended budget would be $3,400 more than what it is right now.
Okay.
It's going to be a little bit more than that because of the things I mentioned with the sheriff.
And that's rolled into the amended expenditures of 67 million, correct? That's got the 34.
Yes. Well, it's, yes.
34, give or take.
So 67, I'm not sure where you're finding.
67 on this one, 67,
Yes.
738, 940.
I think that's the first one. So,
There you go.
yes, that one, yes.
Okay.
It's rolled in there, the 3,400, the lapsing is the 1,667,700 and the 3,400.
So you're just down to the lapsing with very little
Yes, basically,
other.
the lapsing and then very little other amendments, other than just kind of reclassification.
You may recall to last year, well, during the budget cycle, we came to you with one that was voluminous.
This one.
Yeah. That-
We did it again.
Proposed all the small changes, and we read that as you didn't want to do that. I mean, you could do that, or you don't have to.
Right.
It's not a requirement to do it, from what I can find. I've looked, I can't find anything that says that we're required. Unless, of course, you made a decision during the council meeting and we had to change the budget or amend the budget for that. But to sort of true up every single line item in the budget, I couldn't find any authority that said we had to do that.
Right,
No.
you understand, if you do that, then your numbers are all clean at the end of the year, right? It looks nice and tidy, and you do have a column that shows what you did amend. In the alternative, your numbers will be a little messier in the end, but you won't have the amendment.
Are you finished, Chris?
For the moment, yes.
Joe?
Of those two proposals, which do you like?
Out of the one that you received with the packet,
Well, as Andy said, one's a little messy, but it may be more detailed.
I feel comfortable going with what you received tonight because it will show, the other kind of cleans it up and maybe a department or somebody didn't actually do quite as well as they could have on their budget for trying to reach their goal. So doing the first thing you got cleans up those departments, makes it look very nice and neat, but it doesn't necessarily, I mean, you'll see it because there'll be two columns, but
Either of those two methods affect a budget performance. If we went in to look at a department mid-year, would we still have the numbers?
No,
Just-
because when we look at the budget performance, we print the budget as adopted. We print the amended budget. Then you have your actual and what the difference is. So you would still see both of those.
That's my main thing.
Yes,
May
you
not
would,
be,
either way you would see.
it's a cleaner document, but we can still get in the weeds if we needed to.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
On the cost of living increase, the 856,800, what percentage did we use there?
You know, as I was talking about that, I realized I need to change something. So we used 3%, but we took it up a bit for the taxes, the FICA taxes and all of that. So as I said that just now, I thought, it doesn't all go to salary and wages. So I'm gonna have to back out of that for your second reading, a portion of that to payroll taxes and possibly to benefits. Because I took it all into salary and wages for this presentation and for this reading.
Mhm.
And you're correct. When we were going through the budget process, I provided you with several different options.
That's correct.
And as part of that was also, this is 3%, say, but included in that is 1.9 or 2% that would actually be FICA and benefits. So I do need to correct that moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You finished with that? Chris? Gene?
Yeah, the COLA, is that automatic for every employee, or is that
That
certain employees?
is for every employee.
Yeah.
That once the council passes it and they determine that it's a cost of living increase, that they will provide it, is for every employee. This year, we had one department that did not take the director did not want to have a cost of living increase.
Was it a unionized situation?
No, sir.
No,
No.
just didn't want it, I wonder why.
I'm not sure.
So you mentioned before about a $4.8 million deficit, and now it's down to 2.8. How do you make that up?
How do we make up the 2.8 million?
Yeah.
So, I'm still looking, because I have a concern that it is that much of a deficit. So I am trying to determine, as you know, we have recorded the revenue throughout the year, and I'm trying to make sure that one, it's all recorded as it should have been, which it appears that it has been. And I'm comparing that to apportionment reports, to all of those things. We may not make it up. It may be a loss. So. But I'm still looking. I have a few things I don't want to really divulge tonight because I'm still investigating. But there are a few options I think that I can take a look at, and we can make sure that they're correct.
I have no further questions.
You can go, Joey.
All right. I do have a couple questions with the COLA new personnel. Can you explain that again, rolling that into the 26 on this sheet here?
So, yes, so when we calculated the 3%, where is that? Let me go back up. This way, backwards maybe. So on this sheet here, that cost of living increase, when we were going through the budget process, we started with a different percentage for cost of living increase. And part of what happens when you have a cost of living increase are your FICA taxes go up, your retirement increases as a result of that. So when we were looking at alternative percentages for the cost of living increase, included in that amount was a percentage that would be for FICA and retirement. When I was doing this, preparing this, I took that entire $856,800, took it out of cost of living increase, and added it to salary and wages. And that's inappropriate. That's not the way that we had originally planned for it when we budgeted. So as I was saying that tonight, I thought, gotta change that too. So that $856,800 will be something less that goes into salary and wages, and you will see the payroll taxes and benefits increase by an offsetting amount. So when I bring you or send you the second reading, that will have changed.
Mr. Rowley, you understand that the budgeting process with the cost of living, there's just one line item, and she tries to figure out the impact on all those areas you just mentioned, and then as it's a budget item, and then it moves through with you guys, and you decide whether you're going to give it or not, or want to do a different percentage. Once the budget is passed, she's reallocating it to all those different bits and parts.
And in that particular line item, I did not reallocate it, any of it, to the payroll taxes and benefits. So I should have done that, and will do that.
And my other is looking through the ones that were provided last week with the spreadsheets in comparison to what we have here tonight. It concerns me that it's going to be how much of a deficit for going from FY25 into 26 to finish FY25?
Potentially 2.8 million. So, like I said, there's some other things I'm looking at. I don't want to give you any false hope that I will find those, but I am still looking for those. But it'll be about 2.8.
How do we get there?
How do we get there?
How do we get 2.8 million to not to the good?
Well, our revenue is not as budgeted. So that's the largest part, where, as you can see, if you look at this spreadsheet, or this. So right here, you can see that we budgeted $62,409,494. That's all revenue. And right now, we have $52,575,000. And when I look at our receivables, which are yet to be recorded, it appears that there's about $2 million in the that should be recorded for the general fund that we will record and have not. So that would bring our revenue up to $54 million. There's a couple of items that I feel like they haven't been transferred. The funds haven't been transferred, and so I want to look at that and make sure, see what we need to do with that, because there's one of those accounts that's about $1.5 million, and if that money should have been transferred, then we need to record that. So that one I need to investigate. And but as you can also see, expenditures were budgeted for $62 million, and they're below at $57 million. So they're nearly, what was that, $5 million plus. So the expenditures came in under budget. It's the revenue that we're still having to,
Why are we under 10 million on revenue?
why are we under 10 million?
Well, the revenue was at 62,409, and we've only got 52,575.
Well, as I said, there's some, we still have some that we have to record. And there's a couple of transfers that I feel like they should have been made, and I need to double check those. And other than that, I haven't yet found the reason. I'm still looking.
Do you have a sense, I'm sorry. Can I ask a question?
I was just gonna say, and this is not an attack, but how do we come to the meeting and we've got these issues? I'm frustrated,
So are we,
and I'm not saying it's mistakes have been made, I'm just saying it doesn't seem like we're fully prepared for this meeting, is my only point. And I'm frustrated at that because we don't, the revenue 62, but the true revenue is 52, but we've got another month coming in, and it just seems
so this meeting is not about the performance report. This
right.
meeting is for the budget.
Okay.
So that's a completely different, different thing altogether.
No, it isn't.
Amending the budget.
The performance tells us we are deficit of $10 million.
Right.
But you're asking us to give find some place to put $1.6 million back in. We're in deficit of $2.8 million because you found some.
So
money.
that's only the budget. That's only the budget that we're changing. We're not changing anything with the actual. We're only revising the budget.
So, but the budget is what we work on. So
budget
why
is-
don't, have you ever looked at, or have you ever gone back and said, okay, what can we reduce to reduce the problem? Because we spend a lot of time trying to get this, getting out of putting cash forward. All of a sudden, we're going back to what we did before.
So that money that we're taking out of the fiscal year 25 increases increases your fund balance. All we're doing is taking a portion of that, 1.6 million, you're already increasing it by 1.8, right?
Right.
But this is the thing. This is the budget. It's not the actual. We're just looking at the budget. So the revenue, we're as frustrated as you are. Well, I don't know how frustrated you are, but I can tell you we're frustrated because there is a lot of ins and outs for all of these various bank accounts, and we're having to follow them and try to record them and try to figure out where is this the right bank account? Should it have been in this bank account? Why didn't this happen? And it's a very arduous process to do that. And I have looked at our side, which is recording it, and at this point, I said, did we make a mistake? I don't see where we've made any mistakes in recording it because we've recorded what happens. We record what happens.
How do we make this better?
I think we need to look at the major revenue categories. Do you have a sense of those? The property taxes?
Well, can I just ask
So
a few?
property taxes are the,
We're missing $30,000 right off the bat. You have cash carry forward. You amended it to $10 million. Never happened.
what are you looking at?
I'm looking at 170. Where is it now? Cash carry forward 1590. We started out with 59 million, 5,900,000, 6 million. We added another 5 million, comes out to 10 or 11 million. Yet we didn't get it. We didn't transfer it, or we didn't do something with it. Then
What are
These
you?
are the
paper
sheets
you
from
looking at?
last week.
Oh,
this is the performance. I'm taking it off the performance, which is what you're actually doing.
all right, we can, if you want to, we can do a journal entry at the end of the year that increases the cash carry forward to some amount that basically says that we're zero, revenues equal expenditures. but basically we're just taking it from our fund balance.
But then we'll
So
go,
it's a budgeting tool.
but yes, it's a budgeting tool to make it, to have money that we don't have. For another example is the school board. The school board owes us money. We haven't even attacked that one yet. Then you have, the big one is you transfer in. Transfer in means money coming into you, right? We're a deficit of $20 million. We gave out 20 million, not bring it in.
So that was just reduced. We didn't give out 20 million, we just reduced it. Some of the items that we recorded throughout the year that were coming in from different sources, that the treasurer was recording and bringing in from different sources, we were using the transfer in line item, but they should have just been a cash to cash. So that's been corrected. There's not a deficit of that amount. It's just a reduction of what was recorded to the transfer in.
Yeah, but
So- So sometimes, say there's an item like when we get accommodations taxes, we record those in a separate fund as revenue in that fund. When we use that money to offset an expenditure in the general fund, it's not revenue in the general fund because it's already been recorded as revenue in the accommodations tax fund. So it's basically a transfer in or a transfer between bank accounts. So some of those, I'll admit, was a learning curve on our part. So this has been, as I said, quite an arduous process trying to follow the money, as people like to say. And we are trying to follow the money so that we can record it.
How do we straighten the learning curve out and get us where we need to be? And
I think
the other thing is, and I understand having to move monies around to get us where, but let's just call it 2 million for just a safe number being in a deficit. Based on these same methodologies, would we be even more to a deficit for FY26 using this?
well,
think
I don't
that's-
know.
I don't think we know yet. I think that's what the answer is. Until we try to look at this with the appropriations of what came in, what came out. I know tax revenues are down, which makes no sense. And so
Exactly, it makes
we gotta
no sense.
figure that out.
I'll tell you where it is. It's in the automobiles. It's in the auto tax.
So that's one of the things that I would like to look at because it's double, it's 4 million.
Yeah.
Higher than, so I haven't,
You see what I'm saying? We gotta make sure those are being
so we,
apportioned correctly so we can try
Yes.
to get back to where we are.
Which I don't, it's just that we worked so hard to get the cash carry forward and all of a sudden we're adding more to it again. And you say we're budgeting, but that's what you use to
Right.
budget.
well, but we're also decreasing our prior year budget. So we're basically just
We
carrying
can't
it forward,
decrease, we're decreasing the cost or
the budget,
the budgets. We're decreasing the cost.
so.
I don't,
decreasing
that
the
doesn't make
actual-
sense to me.
It's not the actual, it's just the budget, yes.
I
So
just-
you're right, we did work hard to get that down, but there are certain items that we didn't budget because we knew that we had them in the fiscal year 25 and that they would be unspent and we would need to carry them over. Just like the architect, just like the detention center, just like the equipment for the truck and for the solid waste. Those things we knew that, the other one was the Symbiosity, the report.
Well,
So-
you know, I don't mind the $39,000. I can see that. I mean, that's something. But like, for example, Parks and Rec. I mean, we're doubling with they didn't use the $400,000. Now we're moving it forward. And
We don't have to.
this is the prime reason why we want line item. We don't know what was done. We just gave them $400,000. They decided not to use it.
I think, well, I can't speak for Corey, but, so you don't have to move that forward. You can say you don't want to carry that one forward. There are a couple that you do need to move forward. The architect, for one, because that's already a signed contract. The things that are for the detention center, because those are already signed contracts. The So the consulting services, that's a signed contract. So you don't necessarily have to carry forward. So the first three there, 4, equipment, building repairs, planning, expenses, consulting services, those definitely need to be carried forward.
But see, I don't understand what, we're a deficit of $28.8 million. How are we putting anything forward if we don't have it? And if we go forward with it,
So what that means is that we will reduce our fund balance.
that's what we don't want. We made a big thing that we wanted to bring that back up. All of a sudden, the first year, we bring it down.
So we're talking actual and we're talking budget. So, but there are certain items that we definitely need to carry forward. If you don't want to carry forward park development, I'm sure, Corey will make do with the amount of money that he was originally budgeted for $100,000, so the 390,000, you'll just have to delay or defer projects. The park development, again, that's $51,900. If you don't want to carry that one forward, you can delay or defer projects. The equipment for the 81, we need that. So that for the truck that needs to be re-outfitted, you might be able to reduce that by some amount for the equipment. Building repairs, you don't have to carry that forward. They'll have to make do with the 105. The capital outlay, again, that's the solid waste. They have that budgeted again for this year. They didn't spend it. You don't have to carry that forward. The building repairs, you don't have to carry the 127,000.
Since Jim is here, and he's probably one of the administrators of it, why didn't we spend the $3,900? Just didn't get to it?
39,500.
There are some things that, as I came on in December, trying to figure out where the budget sat, what was actually in the budget, and moving forward. The building repair stuff, I believe that we have some things that are being carried forward on those building repairs that we would still like to get to. And if that money is not available, that just building repairs that we won't do. And so it's that question of, there were some things that were budgeted that I was unaware of, that I did not move forward because of the transition into the new position, and I'll take the responsibility for that. And trying to make sure that we, if the council will advance the money, that we will spend it in those appropriate items this year, seeing that I am now aware of actually what's in the budget.
Mr. Kemp?
Yeah.
I think you were asking about the capital outlay, the 39.5. Jim, is that a vehicle or a piece of equipment or something that you're aware of?
I think that was a truck
Yeah.
that we have on order and still hasn't come in.
I'm just trying to understand this.
Yeah.
We want to put money forward, but we don't have it. We have a deficit, and we're going to put money forward in a budget.
So I'm aware of a roll-off truck that was ordered almost a year ago that still hasn't shown up. We had a dump truck that was in last year's budget that showed up 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. And that was on order for about 2 years, is my understanding. So again, those things that Kim has talked about a little bit, of things that have been ordered and we're waiting to get, those are some of those costs. And there's some things like the parking lot improvements that weren't put together, and taking a look at the estimates that we had to make those happen, I didn't think it was a wise use of the money at this point in time, because I thought the costs were too high, and I thought if we bid out all our asphalt projects, whether it was a parking lot or road pavement, we would get a better price, and so that's why we're asking for some of that to be moved forward.
Thank you. I'm just trying to understand. Just trying to understand. So, I don't understand that 20,000 that we did on that transfer in. We did $20,000 after we said $1 million. How did we not? How far?
Transfer in?
We have a transfer in down in the budget. I
So
just
that was
went
$1
over
million.
that.
And that came from the Economic Development Fund into the general fund for payment to TCL for $1 million. So that was a literal transfer of money from, one bank account, one fund to another.
Yeah, but so someplace else that's going to be showing up. Can you tell me where?
Oh, you're looking at this, sorry. So the transfer in, there was $1 million. So it came from, we moved it into the general fund. It came out of the Economic Development Fund. So
What
it's
number
not-
is that?
It's in a different fund. It's not, what you're looking at is the general fund. It's in a different fund. So you don't see it in what you're seeing here.
You have a copy of the audit?
I started to bring it and did not. So we have other funds that if you, I can bring you the audit or
I think
show
we
you other
gave
things,
a
but-
report. Do you remember during the budget cycle, we gave you a report of the special funds? We were talking about capital purchases. Do you remember that? And I remember, Mr. Kemp, you said you hadn't seen that before. It's very similar. It's a budget sheet just like this about expenditures from those funds. We can do that too.
Well, the problem is that we gave it as $1 million profit or $1 million in revenue.
So
And we
the other
used
way
that
out.
based on the expense.
I
Now
see what you're saying.
we took $20 million from someplace.
So there's a TCL line item, I think it's in 90 or 92, 90. So if you look on page 31 to 38 of the,
90,
yes, Department 90,
right?
there's an account 4515, there's $1 million. And $1,050,000 has been paid over the year.
Right.
So that's the budget amendment that we made previously for the $1 million that the council approved to pay to TCL. Came from the economic development, and then it was paid sometime, I don't remember when we paid it, to be honest, but sometime in the year, $1 million, $1,050,000, which 50,000 was their original appropriation, and then we gave them another $1 million. So that's what that $1,050,000 is under year-to-date transactions.
Okay, so
So they offset.
that's 19. That's 19,000.
I'm not sure where you're getting the 20 million from. I'm a little.
You go down to the revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you go to 170.
Yes.
Let's see, 1607.
So that 20,562,000 are the corrections that have been made that were us in the finance department recording things that have been transferred from other bank accounts, other funds. We took them in as transfer in when they really should have just been credit to this bank account and a debit to that bank account. So that's one of our learning curves. We've learned that, so we're not using that transfer in unless it is a certified transfer in. This being a cash to cash has to have a journal entry. So that is a correction. That 20 million, we're not down 20 million. It's cash. It doesn't impact our P&L statement. It's just from this bank account to another bank account. It's all balance sheet. It's just like taking money from your savings account and putting it in your checking account. That's what that $20 million represents.
Okay. It still goes back to, we're gonna move forward $4.3 million. And we have no money, we're gonna just go into the general fund. Is that what we're saying?
So we're
Just
not,
clear and simple?
so we're not going to move forward $4 million as far as the lapsing funds?
Well, in the lapsing funds, you have the budget, 1.6 million.
Yes.
And we have a deficit of 2.8.
I'm anticipating yes. And that's actual, and the other is budget. And as I said, some of these items I can highlight the ones that absolutely need to be moved. If the others, you don't see fit to carry those over into the budget, then those department heads will make it.
I think you're gonna have to strongly prioritize when we look at those, because we're going into a deficit right off of Jump Street, and that's not good.
No. Tell you the truth, I'd like you to come back and give us an idea of what we can take and reduce this number.
For the carry forward budget amendment? Sure.
Agreed.
Is that okay?
We're gonna be doing both, so we'll look for the deficit as well, so we'll come back
Yes.
with both sets of information.
Yes.
See where we land.
In other words, you want to look at things that you need to have versus things that are nice to have, I guess. Maybe a list of both.
Right there, I can show you.
Yeah.
I can highlight the ones that must be done.
All right.
And then clarify any mistakes, right?
Jimmy?
And then clarify any mistakes that,
Right.
There's a couple, yes,
yeah.
that I mentioned.
Thank you, Ms. Burns.
And what about the school board? They owe us money? Are we doing anything with them?
So I'm
With all
not,
this going on over there?
I'm not aware that I'm not sure what you're talking about, I apologize.
Well, it's the
Not yet.
sheriff's portion.
For the
Oh,
SROs.
the
SRO,
SRO?
excuse me, yeah.
I believe, well, the largest part of that is paid, from the school district, from the South Carolina school, and that's coming in, so they've applied for it, and so that should be coming in for fiscal year 25.
Yeah, it's paid for by a grant.
Yes,
You
From the
came
South
to
Carolina.
you at a meeting or two ago, it's like $600,000.
Yes.
Is that by ordinance, or is that something that they asked for, or we asked for?
It's a state grant, and
they apply for it, the sheriff
they apply
applies for it, and then there's a detailed line item of what they're going to use for, how many officers, what the training
But
is.
is there any other money that the school board allocates towards SROs that should be coming our way, that is due our way? Could you check into that?
I can, I'm not aware of any, but I can double check. I'll be glad to double check.
Well, because they have a grant doesn't mean we have to wait, because now it becomes our problem that we have to take money out of general fund
Right.
to fund something that we don't fund.
So I'll double check and see when we received those funds. That might be something we need to add to the receivables, and that would increase the revenue, because it would have been for the prior fiscal year. So the books aren't completely closed yet, so we can make some adjustments as we move forward.
Yeah, I think that's very important. So we're giving you the snapshot of where we are today and what we're thinking. We've got a lot of work to do, so please hang in there with us.
Yeah, but we're, just in defense of us, you're giving a snapshot now, but you're asking us to look ahead with a
Well, we have
snapshot
to move
now.
forward because we have 3 readings on this. So yes, you're right, but that's.
Is there a time limit that could we wait until next year? I mean,
What? No. sir.
I'm just saying. All I'm saying is, is there
Can they defer?
a legally
is what he's asking.
defer it until we get it straightened out?
Well, I suppose.
You can defer, it just takes what's the timeline out, right? It's your comfort level at first reading. First reading gets the ball rolling, and that's what we were proposing, so we
Right.
could try to clean this up, but it's your choice. If you
I mean,
want to wait, we can wait.
But what happens is, once the financial statements get issued, we can't revise the budget. So we're working very diligently to get the financial statements finalized, get them, the audit completed, and then, so if we wait too long, then we won't be able to do it. We can't change the budget for
So how
fiscal year
close are you all
25.
to completing the audit?
Well, I did bring up a list, so Jessica, can you show me that engagement? I'll show you what we have to do. The engagement organizer. So this is 13 pages of everything that we have to provide to the auditors. I got it, sorry. I have to learn how to use it. So they're just different things, minutes of all the boards, all of the bank accounts, list of all the bank accounts, bank reconciliations, detailed collections for certain days for an entire month, you know, GL bank detail, more bank statements, the tax scroll, which is what every taxpayer has been billed for the whole year. This is on page 5. This is page 5 of all that we do. So we probably won't finalize this until, usually we try to get it finalized by the 1st of December with one final big review in the middle of December. We have to have it done by December 31st. It's required. But this is all the things that we have to provide. And we're working diligently to provide these. So, there's a lot. It's a lot.
What percentage of that is done?
Well, we just finished the accounts payable was done the last week in August. So we are getting those reports uploaded we upload all this to a portal. We have gotten those reports and we're uploading them. As I mentioned, the receivables, we still have to do that. So I'm going through that, double checking that. So once we get that completed, we'll have that done. A lot of this is, they look at it and then they come back to us and say, okay, we have a sample of all of your credit cards. We looked at all your, we saw what you posted in your GL for credit cards. We want to see the credit card statements for these months, and we want to see all the details. So then we have to pull all that. So it's a back and forth for several months, and then hopefully it will all come together before December 31st. Last year, it was close. So I don't ever want it to be that close again.
Is there any more questions? We have to go on one more thing and then we can go into a meeting. Okay? Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Mr. Fulgrim, your
Hi, this is again Ms. Burgess. There are the two software issues briefly we wanted to talk about. I'll do the one that's the easiest for me, and that is you saw we're requesting the authorization to spend in your regular agenda for a module that would help us with the code enforcement efforts. We had a lot of progress in that area. I know Mr. Ward's here tonight to go through that ordinance with you if you need that. That's on your consent agenda, so that will be finalized. We have made great strides of working with the different individuals who have code enforcement duties within the county and getting them coordinated. And so this is a necessary piece in order for us to be able to track that function separately, to be able to report on that function for you about the number of cases, dispositions, and all those kinds of things. And it will be critical for that new position of code enforcement coordinator, which is currently being advertised.
thank you. You should have stayed up. Should have been just the reverse.
I'll get some more steps in. So, yes, sir. This is an additional public or Q-Public, QS1, it's called by a lot of names. Contract. When we met to review the contract in, I believe it was the March timeframe, one of the items that that was inadvertently omitted from that contract was the printing of the 2025 reappraisal notices, which is very important. So we have requested that they provide us with another contract for that amount. And because it is in the amount of $28,800, which is greater than the county administrator's authority to sign the contract, we are bringing it before you for your approval. And it will be coded to the budget account line item 010-052-2510. And actually, there may need to be, I didn't want to put a budget amendment in for this because very often, as we go through the year, we have say $380,000 in the line item for the QS1 contract. And at year end, it may be $60,000 or $350,000. So I didn't want to suggest, I did mention that there could be a budget amendment, but until we get to the end of the year, it's not likely that we'll know if we need it or not. So right now, as we go forward, it would just be in that 010-052-2510 line item.
So it's not a budgeted item yet.
It is not. I feel like there's a sufficient amount in that line item to cover it, but until we get through the year end, then we'll know for sure.
Are there any questions about either one before?
I just had a question. Is this the best and efficient company to use for what we're using it for?
I can't answer that particular question because I haven't reached out to others, but this particular software company works throughout the state. They work for all kinds of different counties and municipalities, and their offices are the treasurer. The treasurer uses them, the tax collector uses them, the auditor uses them, and the assessor uses them. So it's a they're all interconnected using this particular software. And we have been using it for quite a number of years. And they've, to my knowledge, they're great, they're good. But personally, I don't use them on a daily basis. This is not the software that I use. This is for tax purposes.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
So this is a contract only for 9.5 months, and you're not using it throughout the year? Just a
Yes, sir.
9 month snapshot.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's just for the reappraisal
Yeah,
notice.
gotcha.
Do you have any?
No questions right now.
I thank you very much. And we'll end the workshop. And I'd like to have a motion to adjourn the workshop.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the workshop.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any comment? Hearing none. All those in favor, raise their right hand and say aye.
Aye.
I'm going to give